What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. So Viego, this is the first League of Legends champion I am going to be covering from a new region, this region being the Shadow Isles. So last week you guys voted on the next region for me to cover and the unanimous winner was the Shadow Isles. So here we are. I have also done the review, or should I say the map explore of the Shadow Isles. So if you've not seen that, feel free to check that one out as well. I'll put a card somewhere on the screen for you to check that one out as well. And now that I've done that, now moving on to the champions. So yeah, Viego is the first one. So yeah, what I'm going to do, what am I going to do? This is what I'm going to do. The first thing I'm going to do is what I always do. I'm going to go through his bio, I'm going to go through his story, I'm going to go through his skins, if he's got any available skins, he might not. I'm going to go through his special interactions, I'm going to go through his login theme, and yeah, anything else as well. Oh, his spotlight. I'll timestamp the whole thing as I always do. So yeah, without further ado, let's go. Right, so Viego, the Ruined King. So, few know of the kingdom to the east, far across the seas, whose name lies all but forgotten, the ruins that dot its shores. Fewer still know of its foolish young ruler whose love-struck heart was doomed to destroy it. So I wonder if it's talking about the Blessed Isles as opposed to what happened to them, as in the Shadow Isles. Maybe, well not maybe, I can guarantee Viego's had a hand in what happened there. Now a great threat to all, that man's name was and still is, okay, and is, don't add the word, and is Viego. The second son of a dynastic king, Viego was never intended to lead. Instead, he lived a life of comfort that made him complacent and selfish. So I wonder what happened to his brother. Yet when his older brother... read the next sentence. Yet when his older brother died unexpectedly, Viego, who possessed neither the inclination nor the aptitude for rulership, suddenly found himself crowned. He showed little interest in his position until he met a poor seamstress, isolated. So taken was he by her beauty that the young king offered her his hand in marriage, and thus one of the most powerful rulers of the age was wed to a peasant girl. So this person here, isolated, the new champion's Gwen, and Gwen isn't isolated. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Isolated. Yeah, Gwen isn't isolated. I think it's part of her soul is in the doll, but it isn't technically her. Anyways, we'll find out more when we cover Gwen. So we move on. Their romance was enchanting, and Viego, who rarely showed interest in anyone other than himself, devoted his life to her. The two were inseparable. He scarcely went anywhere without isolated. Always lavishing gifts upon his queen, and his intention could seldom be broken when she was present. Viego's allies fumed, unable to interest him in governance, and with the nation beginning to unravel under his questionable rulership, some plotted in secret to end the king's new reign before it had begun. His nation's enemies meanwhile saw an opportunity to strike, and the vipers began to circle. Thus did an assassin's poisoned dagger one day come for Viego, but the king was well defended and the dagger did not strike true, instead grazing isolated. The toxin worked quickly and isolated fell into a ruinous torpor, like a sleep or something, while Viego could only watch in horror as his wife's grave condition grew even more serious. Overwhelmed with fear and despair, he spent every last coin within the coffers trying to save her, but it was all for naught. Isolated perished in her bed and Viego was consumed by madness. Yeah. His search for an antidote became desperate, crazed. Unable to accept his wife's death, every treasure of the kingdom, every scrap of wealth was sacrificed to his quest to return her to him. Okay, for the land of the dead, here we go. As the land fell into disarray, Viego hid himself away with Isolated's body, becoming hateful and violent. Okay. Then came the day he learned the secret of the Blessed Isles. So they're not on the Blessed Isles, of its water that healed any ailment. With his great army, he stormed the peaceful country by force, slaughtering anyone who stood in his way until he had at last breached its inner sanctum and let his wife drift beneath the blessed waters. She would return to him, no matter the destruction he wrought, no matter the cost. And for just one moment she did. Isolde rose a horrifying wraith of shadow and rage, and in her pain, her anger, her confusion at being ripped from death, she took Viego's own enchanted blade and thrust it through his heart. Okay. The magic of the waters and their ancient swords clashed, and the chamber's energy erupted, tearing across the aisles and trapping everything it touched in tortured, conscious undead. Okay. The magic of the waters and the ancient sword clashed. Right. She took Viego's own enchanted blade. Right. Okay. His mind twisted by the same dangerous obsession he possessed in life, Viego's unflinching, deranged love fueled his every action, his every desire, his every atrocity. The deadly black mist poured freely from Viego's broken heart, ripping the life from everything it touches, and he used the mist to scour the world for some way to return Isolde to his side. Legions will fall before him only to rise again in his service. Continents will be swallowed by living darkness, and the world will pay for every moment of happiness it stole from an ancient ruler laid low by all-consuming love. He cares not for the destruction he causes, so long as he can see his Isolde's face again. His reign is terror, his love is eternal, and until Isolde returns to him, all will fall before the king. Right, okay, so he's obviously gone crazy over love there, hasn't he? And the craziest thing is, she killed him. So he tried to bring him back to life. And what did it say? A wraith of herself. A horrifying wraith of shadow and rage. And in her pain, anger and confusion at being ripped from death, also was intentional. She took Viego's own enchanted blade and thrust it through his heart. So she killed him. And the blade touched the magic waters, which meant that it must be his feelings must have fueled through the waters and it destroyed everything. Yeah, so like I said at the beginning, I had a sneaky feeling he had something to do with why the Blessed Isles are no more. And we see a little bit of that as well, though, in the Ruination cinematic for 2021 as well. So, yeah, that was good. That was a good start. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to see if he's got any skins, which I highly doubt he's got, but I'm going to have a look. If he doesn't have any skins, what I am then going to do is I'm going to go through his login theme. Let's go. Right, so apart from his base skin, he has no additional skins. No surprises there. But when he does actually get some additional skins, rest assured I'll come back and I will review them as I always do. So what I'm going to move on to now is the champion theme. Let's go. Okay. Right, so far, I love when you get themes that combine the music with the concept art as well. And this is an example of that. Really good. The only problem is sometimes the concept art distracts me from listening to the actual music. Whoa. Okay. I just realised it's like 4.5 minutes long. Damn. Okay, let's carry on. That's from Ruination. Wow. Wow. And one more time for emphasis. Wow. Yeah, the piano work on this is on point. Piano work in this is crazy. So yeah, to recap on this, I really like when they combine the concept art from first phase all the way through to the final phase of this base skin with the music as well. I love that. I really like this part at the beginning where they illustrate his moves and that music as well. A little bit like Annie and a little bit like Fiddlesticks as well. But yeah, I really do like that. And also, I noted around about the 2-minute mark, I said 2 o'clock, around about the 2-minute mark, it picked up nice. I like this as well. Before I get to that, when he zooms in on his face, you can see kind of like the purple in his eyes as well, or around the eyes as well. So it makes him look like so much more sinister as well. Anyway, let me get to this point. 2 minutes. This. Yeah, that change is so good from here. Yeah, so quite a few people said his login theme is really good. Technically it's not a login theme, his music, his champion theme is really good. And yeah, they were right. Yeah, they were right. This is definitely one of the best I've heard so far. Definitely up there with Camille's. Up there with Camille's and Aurelia's, let's just say that. So, what am I going to do now? I'm going to go through, what should I do next? I think I'll go through his special interactions. No. I'll leave his special interactions until last. I like to go through his story first because then some of the special interactions, at least for me, might make a little bit more sense. So, let me go through his story, then his special interactions, and then I'll finish off with his spotlight. Let's go. Right, okay, his story. So his story is she. Kind of self-explanatory. And I think that's all he's got. Roots of Ruin. Oh. Oh, okay, so let's go through this. So we go through the story. So you've got the main man himself at the top. It was said that the young king of Kavanagh, or Camavor, was so grieved by his bride's passing that he locked himself in his towers with her lifeless body, which is kind of creepy, let's be real, come on now. Falling into madness, he wasted his kingdom's entire treasure on attempts to bring her back to life, which is found from the bio. So, I mentioned in the map explore of Shadow Isles, I wonder how he ties in with Thresh, because technically, in my opinion, or at least what I know so far, Thresh is kind of like the equivalent to Hades in it. He's kind of the gatekeeper of death. So I wonder how he ties in. And we're going to find out. So, Thresh was once the spiteful warden of the Blessed Isles. He led Viego to the waters of life. Right, knowing well that it would spell disaster, he readily became a spectre where his cruelty endured. Right. Okay. So he was spiteful warden of the Blessed Isles, and this is his missus here, isolated. I'm answering the wrong questions here. The love between this peasant seamstress and the brash king was full of youthful promise, but their bliss was short-lived. After taking an assassin's dagger meant for her husband, Isolde perished from the resulting poison. And here is the answer. Gwen's enchanted scissors once belonged to her seamstress who created her. Given life 1,000 years after the ruination, she seeks to stop the black mist and discover the fate of her maker. Tools in hand, she searches for allies on her quest. Right, okay. Callista, the Imperial General, tried to protect her uncle Viego, but failed to protect the young queen. Searching for a cure for Isolde, she discovered the Blessed Isles' waters of life. However, she refused to fight in the resulting invasion. My boy Yorick. Okay, so Yorick was a member of the Brethren of the Dusk, a Mosaic order that guided souls to the beyond. Let's zoom in a little more there. They wore the waters of life around their necks to guard them from evil, but the black mist compelled them to remove their vials. Yorick alone resisted and alone survived. Whoa! Alone resisted and alone survived the ruination. So that explains it, because I played Yorick a few times on League of Legends, and he has a conversation with the maiden. He has a conversation with the maiden. I'll try and dig it out and put it on here.
Let us in. Remove your chains.
I think not.
She says, come to us, come embrace death. And he says, no. Somewhat along the lines, but that makes a little bit more sense now reading that. I'll find it. A prince of ancient Kamavar, he was taken as a hostage in the Great Darkin War. He learned the forbidden art of Heromancy, whatever that is, and gained unnatural extended life. According to legend, Vladimir once tried to contact his distant nephew Viego, but the letter went unanswered. Okay, Ledros. Ledros was Viego's champion and a powerful fighter who perished in the invasion of the Blessed Isles. Bound forever by his love of Callista, he spends his immortality taking vengeance upon her betrayers. I got a nice little bit of a link there as well. And Hecarim. I wonder where Hecarim was going to turn up. Jealous Hecarim led the Knights of the Iron Order after allowing the precious commander to die in battle. When he saw an opportunity to strike down Callista for refusing Viego's orders, he ended her life. Her life with his own hands. Jealous Hecarim led the Knights of the Iron Order after allowing the previous commander to die in battle. Maybe we'll get a bit more about why he's jealous. Unless I'm misreading that. There's some jealousy going on there, but I'm not quite sure why. But okay, overall, that's good. That answered a lot of my questions. Good. So, let's move on to the story, She. So, to story, She. In fact, before I move on to it, let me just appreciate this image. Yeah, that looks so good as well. I love how the black mist kind of like gravitates around his sword, but it doesn't get too close. It's like it's too powerful for them to get too close, because you can see it makes like not a wake, but yeah, you can see how they're attracted to it, but they can't get too close to its power. Yeah, it looks really good, and I wonder what's going on here. I think I know what that is. So is this him? Before the ruination, this is him, and this is his wife, but it's ripped. I think that's what that represents. So, each time Viego thought of her face, it looked a little different. Sometimes her eyes were just too far apart or too close together, or her cheeks were a little too thin or a little too wide. Sometimes her hands laced the calluses of a seamstress, but other times they were gnarled and thick from long days holding scissors and needles. She wore a gown some days and others a simple work frock, and on others still she wore nothing at all. She was never the same, but always the same, never there, but always present. Ghost of the heart Viego no longer possessed. Rent open when Viego, on his shattered blackened throne at the bottom of the world, slammed his king's blade deeper into the rock beneath, cracking the obsidian and sending a brutal tremor across the entirety of the Shadow Isles. Right, so this is a continuation of the bio. To his left lay a painting he could no longer bear to look at, for the fair Icelander's countenance had been too perfect to lay eyes upon, too lovely to grant him any peace or respite. He had torn her away, leaving only the image of a foolish young king who believed the world was kind centuries before, but who now was rightfully dead. Okay, so I was right. So this is the situation here with her and him, and he's ripped it away because he can't bear to look at. Right, okay. Or, if not dead, something else. So again, Viego could not remember much of his old country that was not twisted by shadows that anguish. In his memories, he stepped out upon the sandstone streets and only saw isolate before him. Every fresco on every wall contained her within a painted world that only he could touch, only he could see. Yet while he went to reach for her, the illusion broke away, and he was here, not there, surrounded on all sides by the putrid waters that had stolen her all over again. Viego ripped his blade from the ground and stood, smashing his great heft into the floor and walls as he wailed. Then he was still for a long while, regarding the ancient painting from the old kingdom as if he'd seen something new. regarding himself as he was before the hours had been swallowed up by darkness. Viego, he said, so handsome, so young. What became of you, Viego? Where have you gone? He dropped the painting to the floor, its frame cracking awkwardly as the canvas crumpled beneath it. Where are you isolated? Said Viego. Why don't you come back to me? Well, he already knew the answer. Do you know what's interesting there? I just thought about now, which ties in with the bio. Obviously, she died, and then his quest is to bring her back to life at any cost. But who killed her? Nothing's been mentioned about finding out who actually killed her. So his enemies tried to kill him. They didn't kill him, they killed her. But who were they? Who actually tried to do it? Maybe it'll be flushed out in this as well. To most, the Black Mist is a plague, a vector for monstrous, life-sucking wraiths to assault the living and steal them away until the sun dies and the world crumbles into nothing. Sounds about right. To Viego, in his great, unending sadness, pouring ceaselessly from his broken heart, a testament to his love of better days long gone by, and a cruel reminder of what was taken from him so long ago. It is this very mist that scours the land, tendrils infecting everything with their grim power, draining the life from whatever they touch until all that remains glows with the soft, neurotic green of the ruination, which is unique to the Shadow Isles now. Yet this too has a purpose, for as Viego's sadness ebbs and wanes, the mist surges forwards, searching as if drawn to something old, familiar, safe. The wraiths and spirits that travel within it do what they will, but the mist itself, no, it gasps ceaselessly for her. Everything Viego does is for her. And now it has found something far from the shores of the Isles, far past the docks of Bilgewater and the coast of Ionia. Something on the mainland, hidden within a modest city at the edge of a river. The object calls to Viego, screams for Viego, demands his attention at all costs, and though the people wail, though they run from the blanket of death that rolls softly across their homes and fields, though the wraith shrieks and the horrors stir to feed, Viego hears but one voice, and one voice alone. Viego, he imagines it says, for he cannot make out the words. That's interesting. It's interesting it says that Viego, he imagines it says because he cannot make out the words. Maybe it's something else, and maybe this ties in with what I mentioned in the previous video as well. That in the Ruination 2020 cinematic, Poppy and Vane find this kind of this thing in the ground, and it's got a green glow to it. And I think this is maybe tied to the Shadow Isles. In fact, I actually think it's tied to the Blessed Isles predating. But yeah, we'll see. The ruined king bursts from the fog like a hungry shadow, tearing through the first guards he sees as he lifts his blade high above the ground. The man's face contours in pain as his body melts away at night and his spirit is absorbed into the mist. But Viego barely pays him any attention before he brings his sword down upon him a second. Everywhere around him, ghouls feast upon the living, tearing them apart as their souls are dragged away to join the king's legions. It sounds like ruination. Searing flesh sails through the air. Arrows tumble across space, swords clatter and warriors fall. It does not matter to Viego. He raises a single hand before the city's great wall, and the mist rushes forward, stones falling away as the structure becomes tainted with decay. Viego simply steps across the threshold, and suddenly he is through. He cuts down two more men as he moves silently towards the source of the voice, then another. They mean nothing. None of them bear any weight, and not one matters at all. Their spirits simply rest beside him, to do as he wills. The ruler of the city now stands before him, a proud man protecting a treasure of some kind. I wonder if it's this. Viego is sure, but as a fellow leader, as a skilled warrior, perhaps he would make a better vassal than hungry spirit. Stop, says Viego, raising a single hand once more. The mist, the wraiths, the horrors, the fighting, everything seems to freeze on the ruined king's command. The man seems to stumble over his words, grasping. Oh, sir. Behind you is a treasure you could not fathom the importance of. I will see it return to me. And here we go. And in exchange, you will serve me personally. Okay, good choice. The man seems to stumble over his words, grasping at something he cannot quite muster, the courage to speak. But Viego gives him time, and slowly the words form on his lips. If I give you this treasure, will you spare the city? The Ring King seems disappointed. Whether he ponders an answer or reflects on the situation, this man will never know, as Viego suddenly appears above him, his great blade slicing down through the heart of this small frightened warrior king. His body slides harmlessly down the massive greatsword as blackness spreads across his skin. You can just see it. Viego rips the door behind him open, and there the treasure lies. An old, worn-torn music box. Ah, okay. A gift from Viego's wedding day whispers something he cannot quite hear. It seems possessed by grief, by boundless, immeasurable sorrow, but Viego simply holds it before his eyes, imagining the soft smile that will surely dance across Isola's face the day he sees her again. What have they done to you, my love, he coos, as the man he slaughtered slowly rises from the earth, ghostly green and blue, throbbing from between the cracks in his skin. Do not worry, he assures the music box. I will find you. It is simply a matter of time. And with that, Viego is gone, vanishing as wraiths devour the city. So not only did he kill the king, not only did he get what he wanted, everybody in the city was devoured by the wraiths as well. So yeah. But yeah, that was really good. Really good. A continuation from the bio to see his obsession with his wife. And this is just another part of that as well. So you can see there that the connection she had and he had to this music box still carries some of her essence. And that's enough for him to be able to hear. And also enough for him to have the power to be able to, in essence, go on the mainland to get it as well. One thing I was thinking about as well, though, is going to be interesting when he actually finally gets to meet his wife again. Make sure the power didn't turn off. I wonder what she's going to say. Because it's going to be like, oh, I want to bring you back to life, but by the way, I've just killed millions of people to get to you. I wonder how that first interaction is going to go. But yeah, obviously we don't have that yet, but it'd be interesting to see how that goes when we do get it. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move on to the special interactions, and then I'm going to finish off the spotlight. Let's go.
Hello, Uncle. I'm surprised you haven't been torn apart by an angry mob.
I think we know why. It's the other way around.
Ur-demon, when all life ends, you will return to your slumber.
Because we know Fiddlesticks is the demon.
For all your ambition, Hecarim, this is what you are reduced to. Your god could not stop me before, sea priestess. Do not challenge me again.
You ain't lying.
You will never have your vengeance, Callista. Never. Sing, Carthage, sing of all that must be lost, and she who must be found.
Because we know you can sing.
Answer for your crimes, Death. Answer me. Go on then, tree. Defeat me if you can. It will never restore the eyes. Why, Isolde? Why do you hide your face from me?
Isolde. They said isolate. Isolate. Isolde. Okay, so we get right to the end, and now I realise how to pronounce it. Isolde. Okay.
Your treachery does not surprise me, Thresh. Only that you believed you'd win. The monk from the waters. And someone else. Isolde?
Oh, in fact, we'll go back to that. That's interesting because the backing music is, I think, Yorick's music as well, which is a great theme. It says here, the monk from the waters and someone else. So we found out that Yorick was the only one that resisted the Ruination and the Black Mist. But also, when he says something else, does he mean this here? This pendant that he has on around his neck?
In death as in life, Hecarim, you will fight only through me. You never believed in my rule, Callista, and now this is your fate. Arise, Death, and greet the king who conquered you back.
Conquered you back?
Isolde, I could not see myself in your eyes. You are simply the latest to defy me, Jamie. So angry, Uncle. It was one unanswered letter 1,000 years ago. It is all. I know it is you. Show yourself to me.
The guy's obsessed, isn't he?
I will find my love again. You matter so little. You are not the hero of this tale. You are not anything. The weight of this moment is so much more than you. The dead will not rest until I am whole once more. Your pain is nothing compared to mine. Love is cruel, yet it will conquer.
Here we go.
All this carnage. Do you see? I do it for you. Humor was better 1,000 years ago. I cannot hear you over the tremble in your voice. In a world without love, death means nothing. The ruination cannot end. Not yet. No, she remains in this world. I could feel it. Submission or death for all who live. In the end, it matters not. I will see her face again.
Not much of a choice there, is there? Submission or death?
She waits for me beyond the mist. My queen, my love, my black and broken heart.
Why does it sound like Zorro?
No price is too great. No atrocity beyond my reach. For her, I will do anything. A world that would rob me of beauty is a world that deserves destruction.
Okay.
Hate me if you must, until she returns to my arms. All will be brought to ruin. I will rip her from the jaws of death. Fate cannot stop me. Nothing can. The black mist flows for me like a tide. At times it ebbs, but now we surge forward. I remember her sinking beneath the waters. And then... Isolde was my life. Viego died when she did, and the ruined king was born. A crown lost long ago, reborn in unlife, ripped away from his only love.
Okay. Okay, so that's good. That was a good, some good interactions there. I like the ones quite early on in the video as well. I like the one with, for example, the one with Fiddlesticks was really good. And also interactions with Kindred were interesting as well. Yeah, the guy's crazy, isn't he? The guy's basically crazy. She's died and he will do anything to get her back. He will kill anybody. He will destroy everything to get her back. That's quite apparent in that. So, yeah, pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move on to the final thing, which is the spotlight. Let's go.
Once the young, rash king of an ancient realm, Viego went mad upon the death of his wife. To bring her back, he'll stop at nothing, even if he destroys everything. Now a powerful wraith, Viego can possess the wills and skills of his adversaries. He's a cruel, skirmishing assassin, and no foe is safe from his merciless blade.
The dead will not rest until I am whole once more.
Witness the wrath of the ruined king. Welcome to the Viego Champion Spotlight.
That login theme.
Viego's passive, Sovereign Domain, allows him to claim champions who fall to his blade. Upon a killer assist, he can possess them, healing for a percentage of their max health. Possessing a champion allows Viego to become them for 10 seconds, replicating all of their non-ultimate abilities, attacks, and item passives. This is Viego's bread and butter. Use your passive to turn the enemy team's strengths against them. Master yourself, master the enemy. The more you know about your opponents, the better you can best them. Imitation is the most dangerous form of flattery.
Fight, puppet! Fight for your king!
Blade of the Ruin King is no longer just an item. It's Viego's Q, and it comes with an active and 2 passives. His first passive makes every basic attack deal a small percentage of his target's current health as bonus damage. Deja vu. For the active, he stabs forward with his sword, dealing damage. Damaging an enemy with any spell triggers the Q's second passive, which makes his next auto attack strike twice. The second strike deals significant bonus damage and heals Viego, so be sure to take a stab at using your blade for sustain. This passive also works while possessing an enemy champion.
Okay.
Viego's W is Spectral Maw. Charge this skill shot to dash forward and hurl a projectile that damages and stuns the first enemy hit. Just be careful, because you're charging in whether you hit or you missed.
Okay.
His dash range is constant, but the longer you charge, the longer you stun. Keep in mind, Viego can't use this to scale terrain. Looks like he's hit a wall. With his E, Harrowed Path, Viego fires an orb that creates a trail of black mist where he can hide.
The mist is my great,
like the color.
unending sadness.
Harrowed Path haunts the first wall it hits, covering the area in mist for about 8 seconds. When he's camouflaged by mist, Viego gains movement and attack speed. Gotta go fast. And spooky. Use it to spread your dark domain all across the rift, but watch out. If your enemies spot the cloud, they might just track your location. Viego's ultimate is Heartbreaker. Abandoning any possessed souls, Viego teleports to a nearby location, attacking the enemy champion with the lowest health, applying on hit effects like his Q passive, and slowing them. Nearby enemies will also be knocked back, taking damage as well. You can use your ult as a gap closer to teleport and isolate your target. Call it a hit and run. It's also a ghastly finisher. The lower your target's health, the more Heartbreaker hurts. After learning it, Heartbreaker is always available to be cast while possessing an enemy champion. Use it to exit your host early and shift between bodies, controlling the fate of the fight. Playing the Ruin King requires a bit of patience.
This form is nothing to me.
Use Harrowed Path away from walls in the early game to keep enemies guessing while you farm the jungle. Once you've hit your stride with your item spikes, it's time to look for those big plays. Your Q's double hit passive has no internal cooldown, so use your abilities mixed with auto attacks to maximize the damage. This combo lets Viego really burst, giving him an edge in a fight. Stay hidden in the mist until you're ready to blitz, borrowing bodies as you take them down one by one. When you're done, just ghost them.
The Mist Beckons.
As an assassin, Viego isn't great when behind, but if he has a head start, he can conquer the rift, quickly turning objectives and teamfights to his favor.
All this carnage. Do you see? I do it for you.
Looking to bring his reign to an end? Be aggressive early game to put the king in his place. Remember, Viego is a conqueror at heart. If you let him collect items, it'll be a missed opportunity to keep him contained. When you're ready to fight, don't just jump in. Unlike other melee assassins, Viego's only escape is his ultimate, which isn't exactly ideal. That crown's looking a little heavy. You'll need to build your royal guard with tanky teammates, then seize your opening. Long live the king.
Submission or death for all who live. In the end, it matters not. I will see her face again.
Wreak havoc upon the rift with the original Heartbreaker. Ready for an era of ruination? Just Viego to the links below.
Whoa. I thought you didn't have another skin. I'm going to have to search that skin before I finish today. But no, it was good. Really good to see his spotlight and his abilities and also his passives as well. Interesting though, it says he's an assassin. Yeah, I think he's got the abilities of an assassin, no doubt, the burst. But the guy's a tank as well. Every single time I played one-on-one versus Viego, and I get caught out in the jungle, I'm dead. I'm dead. So he's like an assassin, but also a fighter, if you ask me. So, before I leave it here today, guys, on this one, let me find out what the heck this skin is. Bear with me. Right, so it appears that Viego already has a second skin. So we've got his base skin here, but this one here, Lunar Beast skin. Okay. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that's kind of... Yeah, it's in comparison to previous Lunar Beast skins, it's not the same. But that's cool though, I like that. But I'm not going to go through and review his skins fully just yet until he's got a few more for me to go through and rank. So, yeah, I think we'll leave it here today, guys, on this one. Kind of embarrassing that I called his wife, what did I call her? Isolid for like the first 35 minutes of this video. But there we go. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed my thoughts and reactions to his bio. Also, the skins, the spotlight, that amazing login theme, and also his story. I like as well, let's not forget, the link between him and other champions in the Shadow Isles as well. That was really good to go through. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.